Bonjour, Afalake.
Hello, Hanan.
How are you doing?
Very well. Good morning. How are you? Very well, thank you, Jerry.
With bright colors. Very nice.
Happy color, isn't it?
Yeah, and it appears as though we haven't seen you in a while. I haven't seen you.
You haven't seen me in a while.
Set, you know.
Yeah, and then I was on holiday.
Yeah,
so
that's always. I mean,
you're
just going everywhere. It's good.
What do you expect?
Yeah, from a tourist.
Travel. I've got to travel.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
Well, today I'm going to be talking about birth tourism in Africa. As we know, tourism is a dynamic industry that grows every day. Every year, new revenue sources are discovered by nations, and these include exploration of newer forms of tourism. One of the old yet recently discovered forms of tourism is birth tourism. Now, birth tourism is a form of tourism that involves a pregnant woman traveling to another country, usually a more advanced country in terms of technology and innovation, for the purpose of giving birth. Traditionally, giving birth in Africa used to be a private thing, sometimes done in homes or amongst family and friends with whom the expectant mother is familiar with. Now, today the story is different. This type of tourism sells more in Africa because there are more third world countries on the continent where basic amenities, even for those with means, are not available. In the past, the main reason for this was to gain access to better medical care, but today the reason for birth tourism is to obtain citizenship for the child in a country with birthright citizenship. While many nations have observed that birth tourism is sometimes simply employed to gain access to many subsidized amenities available without having to contribute much to the funding of these systems and programs in the destination countries. It is a form of tourism that Africans have embraced. Research have shown that there are core reasons why various nationals, including Africans, embrace birth tourism and will continue to do so, even though citizenship laws have been stricter and no European countries presently grants unconditional birthright citizenship. However, countries like United States, Canada, Mexico, Argentina, and Brazil grant unconditional birthright citizenship and allow dual citizenship. This video you're about to watch shows us why the US allows such.
The law allowing citizenship by birth didn't exist prior to the passing of the 14th Amendment in 1868. It was passed as a way to guarantee citizenship to African Americans and their children. This was done in the wake of the Civil War and the abolition of slavery. Citizenship by birth started as a simple, legal way to enfranchise the enormous population of African Americans that had previously been restricted from citizenship because of their skin color, a problem the United States does not have today. So why are we not tightening our citizenship laws again? We aren't doing so because the United States has an enormous and permanent illegal immigrant population, and addressing the problem of birth tourism also means addressing immigration reform. Not something many lawmakers feel like taking on right now.
Well, some women travel all over the world to give birth. Some even go to places like India, Russia, all for diverse reasons. Some of the reasons for birth tourism include access to public schooling, health care, and sponsorship for parents in the future. Birth tourism is a major financial commitment, and it costs between $25,000 to $60,000. Antenatal service in Maryland, US, for example, could cost as high as $3,500, depending on one's country of origin, compared to the cost of the same service in an average country in Africa. It is almost 300% higher. These women brave the odds of risky flight during pregnancy for the chance of access to the privileges that the destination country passport offers for the holders. Now, the downside to this form of tourism for the destination country is that it gives anyone the means to clog up the resource and systems that could or would be better distributed among original citizens of the nation. The effect on Africa, however, is much more disastrous beyond the brain drain that becomes imminent with the exodus of people to the other countries. There is no improvement in the system available in African countries because anyone who requires better facilities would simply leave the continent to access it. It equally means that an exodus of limited resources in Africa, because tourism in most cases is profitable for recipient country. I beg your pardon. Africa requires more revenue to grow its economy and the amount of revenue made in Africa, and exported through birth tourism can't be ignored. Well, that does it for me this week on the travel segment. Do enjoy the rest of the viewing.
Merci beaucoup, Afalake. That's a very interesting topic that you